Record. Thank you, Zachary.
Well, hello again, friends, and time for another journey into the near part of our solar system, which has been invaded by Nibiru, the extraterrestrial visitor, since the year 2003. Now, this is a photograph from 2016. I believe it was taken in the state of Idaho in the United States. And when you're in the northern hemisphere, Nibiru will appear at the 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock position of the dial of the sun as it is here. Next slide, please. Yes, well, Katrina took this very interesting photo on her recent trip to Uluru. It was from the 10th of May. And what we have here is sunrise and Nibiru rise at Uluru. That's Nibiru, which appears for us in the southern hemisphere at either the 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, or sometimes the 11 o'clock position of the solar dial. And I'm not sure if Kat was actually aware when she took the photo that she was about to make a Nibiru capture. But yes, she did, and that's really good. I congratulate her on this photograph. Now, I sent the photo to one of my friends up in Cairns who's interested in Zetatalk and Nibiru, and his comment was, gee, Nibiru appears really big. And my reply was, yes, it's getting closer to the Earth. And as it gets closer to the Earth, it gets bigger in the sky. So thank you, Kat. And we'll proceed to the next slide. Okay, we're going to talk about a very interesting phenomena known as the Earth's dark twin. Now, as far as I'm aware, this information has only been released via Zetatalk in recent years. It may have possibly come from other sources. I don't really know, but Zetatalk has been fairly eloquent in their discussion of the Earth's dark twin, what it means, what it represents, and how it fits into the cosmic scheme of things. Okay, back in November of 2017, they wrote, early in the Zetatalk saga, the Zetas confirmed that the Earth has a dark twin, which normally rides exactly opposite the Earth in their shared orbit. And so it's hidden, perpetually hidden by the sun. We can't see it, under normal conditions, that is. This Earth-sized black rock was known only to MJ12. Okay, what was MJ12? MJ12 is an abbreviation for Majestic 12, and they were the select group of military and scientific minds, which was selected by then President Harry Truman after the famous Roswell incident of July 1947, where an alien craft crashed in the outback, the desert in New Mexico, near the town of Roswell. And as you may know, that incident has attracted a lot of attention over the years that has passed since then. And of course, it was covered up by the establishment, the authorities, and that's a long, complicated story. You can find a lot of information on the internet, so I'm not going to go into it in detail. But MJ12 was basically this group of military and civilian scientific minds that were making decisions about whether the public at large should actually be informed of extraterrestrial life and UFOs and so on, or whether it should be covered up. And of course, they chose the latter. Now, it's interesting. According to the Zetatalk analysis or statement from November 2017, the members of MJ12 were taken there, that is to the dark twin, for a visit by service to self aliens during the Roswell era. Now, what is service to self in the Zetatalk spiritual cosmology? There are two groups. Service to self, they're the good guys. Service to self is the bad guys. Service to others are the good guys. So they were taken for a visit in a UFO by the bad aliens during the Roswell era. And we of course have no way to confirm that or not, but that's the Zetatok statement. You can take it as you wish. And the photographs, in the upper section, various photos from various years that captured the dark twin. Next slide, please. Okay, this is how the dark twin appears as a so-called monster persona. In other words, when it's visible in recent years, dating back about 2 decades, it appears as a huge object, very faint. Why does that happen? How does that happen? Well, as you can see in the lower left of the diagram, the dark twin emits blue light, which bounces off the red dust in the atmosphere, and that's reflected back to an observer on the Earth. That's why we get these so-called monster personas in the sky of the dark twin. They're actually much larger than the dark twin is. As mentioned, the dark twin is about the size of the Earth, and it's exactly opposite the Earth on the other side of the sun. And that's the reason why most people never see it. It's never visible. And so some, especially those in the scientific community, have decided to reject this concept altogether as fantasy or illusion. But no, we have photographs, and we'll be seeing a lot more of them as this presentation proceeds. Next slide, please. The dark twin at times looms large due to what the Zetas call the monster effect, like aiming out into space, but then bending back toward the Earth due to its gravity pull. The monster thus looks larger than it is. Okay, you can see a photograph, the first one in the bottom left, from Russia in January of 2004. And then the middle photograph, I presume Niagara is Niagara Falls on the US-Canadian border in October of 2003. And finally, on the right, in August 2003 from Texas. And you have to wonder if the people who caught images of the dark twin actually knew what it was. Probably not, I would guess, because its existence has been denied by the scientific community, and they're always right? What do we know? They're the ones who are the high priests of science and astronomy, and we have to accept what they say all the time. So the official narrative goes. Next slide, please. From April 2021, per the Zetas, the dark twin came close enough in 2017 for surface features to be discernible. Now that's quite interesting. Hitherto, we could only see sort of a pale blob in the sky, but in 2017 it came close enough that we could see surface features, craters and whatever. It was also revealed that it rotates in a counterclockwise manner, or a retrograde motion. When the dark twin's features are discernible, it is because of the monster persona phenomena, which we've already explained. And that's light rays going outbound from an object, pulled back by gravity, given the appearance of a larger-than-life object. Next slide, please. The detailed features on the surface of the dark twin have been captured on film before in 2010 during a monster persona presentation. The features are more distinct in 2017 as the dark twin is pressing up behind the Earth in their shared orbit, trying to drop behind the Earth to pass on the far side away from the sun and Nibiru. So it's a very complex planetary dance between Sun, Earth, and the dark twin. And Venus is also involved in this, which is difficult to understand, and so I won't try to explain it further. It's quite difficult to comprehend. But one can see from this video, these stills are originally from a video, that the dark twin is slowly rotating counterclockwise left to right and shows many impact craters. Without water or atmosphere, there's little to disguise these craters. Now, when I first heard about the dark twin about 12, 13 years ago via Zetatok, and even more recently, I started to think, is there an esoteric component to all this? Could it be possible that the dark twin is somehow a repository for all the dark negative, evil thoughts and actions of humanity. Now, I don't know, but I think it's a reasonable possibility that that is the case. And what are we seeing now in the last few years? Well, we're seeing images of the dark twin. So, what does that mean in the light of what Chandra just presented? It means we're being presented with the shadow side of the human experience. The dark side, the evil side, the corrupt side, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Next slide, please. Now in 2021, there's another dynamic capture of the dark twin in a monster persona image. And this comes from the Arctic webcams the FAA, that's Federal Aviation Agency in America, maintains for pilots. This Yukon Valley cam showed that the dark twin has developed a volcanic eruption. Now that's very interesting. Why would there be a volcano on the dark twin? Why would it be erupting? Well, Zetatalk didn't explain the why of it. They just said it has happened. But once again, I have to wonder, is that a symbolic component on the spiritual level of the dark side, the shadow side of the human experience? This March 18th, 2021 capture is confirmed by a February 6th, 2021 capture, which shows a volcanic eruption at the same location on the dark twin surface. So we have images of the dark twin that are detailed enough to show a volcanic eruption from 2021. How interesting. Now, you might think, shouldn't this be headline news right around the world? Well, given the corruption of the mainstream media, I guess we conclude they thought it best to hide all this, not let we the peasants know what's really going on. Next slide, please. This is the Hopi Indian blue kachina and the Hindu Kali god, both harbingers of the end times. That's a quote from Zetatalk. Now, those of you who have studied Hinduism, and even those of you who have not, but have some casual acquaintance with it, have probably heard about the goddess Kali. She's a destructive force, feminine force, you could say. I haven't studied Kali much myself, and that particular concept or image never really appealed to me. So I didn't really go into it. But according to Zetatalk, Kali is a symbolic representation of the force and energy of Nibiru. How interesting. And when Kali manifests, when Nibiru manifests, guess what, folks? It's end times era stuff. And that's exactly what we are seeing. Next slide, please. The Hopi Indians also depict Nibiru and the Earth's dark twin as the red Katrina and blue Katrina. Okay, this is a misprint from Zetatalk. They actually meant red Kachina and blue Kachina. So sometimes Zetatalk doesn't get it right. They make errors. This approach in drama is described in the Hopi prophecy. The dark twin has been captured on film with its blue color, and Nibiru routinely appears red due to being shrouded by red dust. So in the Hopi Indian system, and they're based in New Mexico, in the southwestern part of the United States, my wife and I had the fortune or experience to travel there in 2001 and spend a few days there. Interesting place. The red Kachina is the Hopi reference to Nibiru because of its reddish brown shroud. And the blue Kachina is a reference to the Earth's dark twin. How interesting. The Hopi Indians, without telescopes, without advanced technology, they knew this stuff hundreds of years ago. Gee, I wonder how that happened. They didn't have the technology, but yet they were aware of it. How interesting. Next photo, please. Next slide. Okay, this is a Hopi blue Kachina figurine. Beautifully crafted, beautifully painted. It's a symbolic representation of the Earth's dark twin, according to Zetatalk. Next slide, please. This is a Hopi prophecy. When the blue star Kachina makes its appearance in the heavens, the fifth world will emerge. This will be the day of purification. It will come when the blue Kachina dances in the plaza and takes off his mask. And once again, the blue Kachina is the Earth's dark twin. And what are we seeing now? We're seeing photos of the dark twin coming from different sources. And in the Hopi prophecy, it's symbolically represented as the blue Kachina taking off his mask. In the final day, we will look up in the heavens and we will witness the return of the two brothers who helped create this world in the birthing time. The twins will be seen in our northwestern skies. That's the perspective from New Mexico and Hopi land. The return of the blue Kachina will be the forewarning that tells us that there will soon be a new day, a new way of life, and a new world coming. But when the purifier comes, and that's Nibiru, we will see him first as a small red star, which will come very close and sit in our heavens watching us. And that's exactly what we've been seeing in the last 20 years, the most recent example of which was the photograph which Katrina took on the 10th of May in Uluru, sitting in the heavens and watching us in poetic or symbolic language. This purifier will show us many miraculous signs in our heavens. Then one morning we will awaken to a red dawn. The sky will be the color of blood. It's all very symbolic, all very poetic, but it has a definite reality vector or reality factor in the physical manifestation, physical plane manifestation. Next slide, please. Okay, in Finland, there's an end times prediction about flooding, which is understandable due to Finland lying at the end of a bay where ocean slushing will wash water ashore. The Norse god Heimdallr, I'm probably not pronouncing it correctly, but that's the best I can do, would blow the mythical Gjallarhorn during a time of very cold winters to warn of the Viking apocalypse. So they've got a tradition in the Finnish culture about what's to come. Interesting. Next slide, please. And in China, the Nuo legend describes the globe tilting during past pole shifts. So the sun and North Pole appear in new locations. Where this is mythology, the directions given are so accurate they can be correlated with Zetetok descriptions of past shifts. And these are some designs from Chinese history, ancient Chinese history. I don't pretend to understand their exact meaning, but they apparently refer to the coming of Nibiru and the tilting of the planet and pole shifts and all that good stuff. Next slide, please. Another repeatedly mentioned sign of pending passage of Nibiru is an earth wobble. We talked about the daily earth wobble in some detail some weeks ago. It's an extremely important factor that's happening. The earth wobble is what is causing the sun and the moon and planets to rise and set in the wrong locations from what they have been, as Gretchen mentioned during a question and answer session some weeks ago, and others have noticed it too. Of course, the official version, the official narrative is the rising and setting of the sun and planets and moon in unusual wrong positions is simply a fantasy. It's not actually happening, but it actually is. You don't have to have a degree in astronomy to see that. Okay. I'm not going to read all of this. There's a mention of the book of Enoch, which has been excluded from the Bible. And it's mentioned in a very old Egyptian text called the Kolbrin. And in the diagram, we can see what appears to be a three-headed serpent. One is the moon, the middle one is the sun, and the one on the right presumably is Nibiru. So the ancients knew about this. They discussed, they broadcasted, wrote it down in symbolic language, visual language, poetic language, symbolic language. But it's the same process we're undergoing now as we move closer to the pole shift. Next slide, please. From September 2023, a recent FAA, that's Federal Aviation Authority, webcam image from the Kodiak location, that's in Alaska somewhere, shows the dark twin looming closer, Kodiak Island, Alaska. Okay, this is a pretty nice capture of the dark twin. It's a monster persona. He appears huge in the sky. That's actually an optical illusion, but they've got it on film, and it's not just a fantasy or an illusion. As the lettering in this photo proclaims, light does not reflect off of a reflection. Reflections can't be covered by clouds, and reflections don't spin. So sorry, scientific community. Sorry, astronomical community. The dark twin does exist, and we're seeing it more and more all around the world. So it would be very nice if you could kindly tell us the truth about what's happening and stop the disinformation project, which has been broadcast for so many years in the past. Next slide, please. Here's some more photos from that capture. It was apparently a video over Kodiak Island in Alaska. You can see just how huge this thing was in the sky, because below it you can see the mountains. So this was a really huge, seemingly huge image or appearance or apparition. Next slide, please. James, one of the amateur astronomers associated with the Zetatalk followers group, has recently posted many images. Recently, odd dark spots have appeared. And per the Zetas, this is due to the dark twin being a big black rock devoid of water and vegetation. Black surfaces absorb other light. And these are photographs from June of 2023 from Idaho. And once again, another person with a camera in another part of the world has caught a capture of the dark twin. So yes, folks, it does exist, but you're not hearing anything about it, and we know why that is. Next slide, please. September 2023. If the dark twin is primarily seen as a monster persona much larger than in reality, what is its size and appearance when seen in reality? Okay, in 2004, it was first sighted. It had a blue-yellow color as per the Zetas. It was a black hunk of rock, absorbed all light rays except for those two colors. Now from Colorado, about a year and a half ago, a reflected image of the real dark twin in a beautiful blue color. The image was taken at sundown at 4:21 in the afternoon. It's a reflection of both the monster persona and the real dark twin that is captured by the camera. Ah, how interesting. The next photo and the next slide is going to show us not only the monster persona, but the actual image of the dark twin. So could we go to the next slide, please? And here it is in all its glory. The photo on the left is extremely interesting in my opinion. We see in the lower left, just above the mountain, the real image of the dark twin rising over the mountain. And in the upper right part of the photo, the monster persona. So it's an extremely interesting photograph, extremely revealing. And the two photos on the right, one showing blue color, sort of a diffuse blue color, and on the bottom right, sort of a diffuse green color, is related to this dark twin capture. Extremely interesting photographs. Next slide, please. The dark twin was known in antiquity. It was called the Counter-Earth, and it has been featured in many comic books. Ah, how interesting. So the comic book writers, creators, we thought they were just discussing sci-fi stuff, wild stuff, crazy stuff. Interesting. But we could and should trust the scientific opinion. Well, apparently that whole concept is being turned on its head, from what I can tell. But make up your own mind by all means. Next slide, please. Okay, this is from a newspaper in the United Kingdom, the Daily Star, from January 2016. And the title is Earth 2.0 a planet hiding behind the sun? The mind-blowing theory dates back to an ancient Greek wise man called Philolaus, who called the planet counter-Earth. So that's interesting. That belief in the dark twin goes back much further in time than I certainly knew, and most people would know either. Scientists have struggled to disprove the seemingly incredible claim. Now, this is interesting because scientists are saying this is just rubbish. It's just rubbish. And they give their reasons, which are, to my understanding, not anything valid or whatever. A planet with the same mass as ours, the same distance, could share Earth's orbit according to counter-Earth theory. All right, the U.S. Air Force, and of course we know how trustworthy they are, paid a group of scientists dubbed the Condon Committee to look at the possible existence of a counter-Earth as part of the University of Colorado UFO project. And we know what such official projects, we know the information they produce. It's disinformation / information, almost all of it. Okay, the group found the anti-Earth, which they call Clarion, would become visible when the morning or evening twilight, in the morning or evening twilight, and during total solar eclipses. And the final sentence, the final conclusion is interesting. Differences introduced by the presence of an anti-Earth Clarion in the motions of Venus, Earth, and Mars could not have remained undetected in this period. So they're saying, as of 1968, we would have seen it by now. We would have seen counter-Earth, we would have seen Clarion, we would have seen the dark twin if it does exist. So we haven't seen it, so therefore it must not exist. Well, sorry, folks, we've got the photographs. Next slide, please. And this is from Popular Culture, map of Krypton, Superman, and all this stuff, Doctor Who down at the bottom, and Journey to the Far Side of the Sun. An interesting image because you've got the rocket ship leaving the Earth, and behind the sun there's another Earth. So quite interesting image from the sci-fi world. Next slide, please. Now we're going to talk about crop circles. They've appeared mainly in the United Kingdom, but also elsewhere. Crop circles have received a lot of publicity and attention in the last few decades. Many or most of the better-known crop circles have appeared in the UK, but there have been many circles cited in other nations. The accepted explanation for most students of the esoteric, that's us, or even just fans of the bizarre unusual, is that the circles are designs that are created by extraterrestrials or aliens in UFOs hovering above fields in the UK and other nations. It is assumed that aliens wish to communicate certain ideas to humans. Now, that's the view I have, and that's the view that many researchers in the crop circle field have arrived at as well. But it's very important to note that there have been a number of what could be called hoax circles. That is to say, designs in fields made by humans using board, string, and ropes, which are then claimed to be of ET origin, and they're getting better as the years pass. These hoax circles, created by humans and passed off as genuine, quote unquote, whatever a genuine crop circle is, they've been getting quite sophisticated in their technique, as we shall see very shortly, very soon. And so, in the bottom line, the final analysis, it becomes a matter of some necessity to differentiate between real crop circles and hoax crop circles. And the hoax ones are made by those who are trying to discredit the celestial origins, i.e., alien extraterrestrial origins of the genuine ones. And that's to continue the establishment cover-up about the existence of UFOs, or they're now called UAPs, unexplained aerial phenomena, and extraterrestrial or alien life in the universe. And we've seen that official narrative pounded down our throats for decades, but it's wearing thin, unfortunately, for those behind it all. Next slide, please. Okay, guess what? A new crop circle appeared on the 19th of May this year in a place called the Culliford Tree Basset in Dorset in the United Kingdom. And that's one view of this crop circle. Next slide, please. Here it is from another angle. And the next slide, please. From another angle. Now, when I saw this, Chandra sent it to me and asked my opinion. My first reaction was, it seems there's a little white path leading from the intersection, or just past the intersection of the two roads, leading into the circle. I thought, well, that's a bit suspicious, isn't it? And we don't have close-up images, detailed images of the actual grain. I'm not sure whether it's barley or whatever it is. But if we did have those close-up images or photos, we could tell whether it's genuine circle or not, because the genuine circles and the genuine crop circles, which are made by aliens in their UFOs and appear, from what I understand, within a matter of seconds in any given location. Those genuine crop circles, the grain is bent over in a very beautiful geometric pattern. Now, one thing which gives this away as a hoax, in my opinion, is if you see the second petal. Now, Chandra, I don't know if you can put the viewer see just below that. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. There. Now, do you see that imperfection? That's slightly that the tip is slightly imperfect. It's not completely geometrical. That to me indicates that it surely is a hoax, because in a genuine circle it would not appear like that. The genuine circles are phenomenally accurate, phenomenally clean and precise. Next slide, please. Okay, a few days earlier, another crop circle appeared in Wiltshire in the UK. It was barley, and it was 75 meters big. It's a big one. It's a beautiful design, reminiscent of the Celtic culture in the UK and also other parts of Europe. Next slide, please. Okay, this is based on an old, ancient Irish or Celtic design. The Trinity knot appeared during the 7th century. And let's go back to the previous slide, if you be so kind, Chandra. A Trinity knot was a 3-sided arrangement, and here we have obviously a 4-sided arrangement. So next slide.
It's very interesting, really, Zachary, that the square is a symbol for the personality or the ego.
Yeah.
Whereas around it, all these other unifying, it's like a circle that continues and connects. It's more, to my mind, a sort of an image of the soul surrounding the quaternary, which is the square of the personality.
Very interesting comments, Chandra, and I thank you. And yes, it would be interesting to do a bit of manipulation of the colors and the lines in that to bring that point out. Who knows? We could maybe look at that. Next slide, please. This is from Zetatalk. A few days ago, this legitimate crop circle design is signaling those who live in former Celtic regions in Europe to expect an expanding impact during the coming plate movements. We talked about tectonic plate movements, how important they are in many former lectures. If the ancient insular art symbol had 3 interlocking spikes, the coming changes would have 4, as the recent crop circle certainly does. The parts of Europe to be affected by the New Madrid fault line rupture and collateral Eurasian plate expansion in the east include the United Kingdom islands of England, Ireland, and Scotland, with the 4th region on the coast of France. Now, I think it was about a month and a half ago I talked about how the New Madrid fault line was stretching and it was predicted to snap or unzip or fracture, and that would create a tsunami in the Atlantic, which would move eastward and hit and probably badly damage parts of the United Kingdom, France, Spain, whatever. And here we have a reiteration of that prophecy, but in a symbolic form with this particular crop circle. So are we getting close to the point in time when the New Madrid fault will rupture and the European tsunami will be unleashed and do its damage? It would appear so, but no one knows for sure. Next slide, please. Okay, just yesterday, Chandra and I were having a little chat, and we mentioned Trump, and I said, yeah, he's failing on some important issues. He's failing with, in the Gaza to stop the genocide. And then Chandra mentioned, oh, have you heard that Trump recently said he was going to spend 175 billion, or the U.S. government was going to do it on the Golden Dome missile defense shield? And I said, no, I hadn't heard about it. It sounded crazy to me. I couldn't see why he would be spending so much money on a military project. This is from the mainstream media, Reuters. Trump selected a design for the 175 billion Golden Dome missile defense shield, named a Space Force general to head the ambitious project aimed at blockading threats from China and Russia. And that's the mainstream media narrative. Beware of China, beware of Russia. They're coming to the United States and going to take it over. So we've got to protect our homeland. That's the official narrative. The program was first ordered by Trump in January. It aims to create a network of satellites, perhaps numbering in the hundreds, to detect, track, and potentially intercept incoming missiles. That's the official narrative. But what is the truth behind it? Next slide, please. Wonder of wonders, the Golden Dome missile shield is actually related to the Nibiru, although that cannot be admitted because of the all-pervasive Nibiru cover-up. And the Zedis has long predicted that the vast tail of Nibiru would bombard the Earth during the years leading to the pole shift, as the North Pole of Nibiru would point away from the Sun's South Pole, and the tail blows out from Nibiru's North Pole. And that tail from Nibiru's North Pole is hitting the Earth and doing all kinds of crazy things to our planet and our atmosphere. As Nibiru proceeds in its first 270-degree roll, this will be a temporary bombardment, but until the presence of Nibiru is admitted by the establishment, excuses for the debris and petrol incoming will be offered. And we can see photographs from Siberia, and the other one is from Idaho in recent, taken just this month actually. And they certainly show that our atmosphere is being bombarded with a lot of, call it what you will. I accept the explanation of Zedatalk that it is particulates in the long tail of Nibiru, and we've talked about that earlier in other lectures. Next slide, please. Blaming the sun for the blackouts and the EMP, that's electromagnetic pulses caused by Nibiru's massive magnetic field and charge tail, were one of the first excuses to emerge way back in 2003-04. Well, there's nothing to do with Nibiru. Nibiru doesn't exist. It's blame the sun. And as NASA has control of solar images and emission reports, they can and do lie about this. But no excuses have been offered for the rainbows and sky fire caused by petrol. In the photographs below, we can see some of these very unusual images. Some of them are quite appealing or attractive. It's like a deva, some sort of deva or angelic form. But according to Zedatalk, this is due to the greasy, magnetized petrol particulates in the tail of Nibiru. Next slide, please. Falling debris has been blamed on space junk, but now that debris has increased, it is damaging F-16 fighter jets. Oh, how interesting. Debris from Nibiru is actually damaging American F-16 fighters. And so the excuses have increased. Perhaps, and these are excuses, of course, maybe it's UFOs. Maybe it's the cartel snooping on the southern border. But clearly, President Trump's Golden Dome is in anticipation of large debris incoming. So, the official version, the official reason for the Golden Dome is not the actual reason for its creation. It's all to do with Nibiru, and it's all to do with these incoming debris and particles from the tail of Nibiru, which are creating havoc on Earth. And as we get closer to the pole shift, likely to create even more of that. Next slide, please. All right, this is the end of the Nibiru lecture, so we'll turn off the recording now, if you'd be so kind, Chandra.
Thank you.